10 transgender celebrities you won't believe were born male, then and now, 2025. What if the most powerful women in entertainment weren't always allowed to be themselves in then and now? 2025, we uncover the shocking truth behind 10 transgender icons who shattered Hollywood's illusions and rebuilt beauty on their own terms. From Olympic legends to red carpet queens, their transformations exposed more than their new identities. They revealed society's deepest fears and hypocrisies. These stories aren't about scandal, they're about survival. Watch until the end to discover the woman whose journey changed everything. Are you ready to face the truth behind fame and identity? Caitlyn Jenner. Once celebrated as the world's greatest athlete, Caitlyn Jenner transformed from an Olympic legend into one of the most recognized transgender figures of the 21st century. Born in 1949 in Mount Kisco, New York, she rose to fame as Bruce Jenner, the decathlon champion of the 1976 Montreal Olympics, where she broke the world record with 634 points and became a symbol of American determination. Yet behind the triumph and the Wheaties box fame was a private conflict that lasted for decades, a struggle between public heroism and personal truth. After years of emotional turmoil, Caitlyn's life changed forever in 2015, when she publicly came out as a transgender woman during her groundbreaking interview with Diane Sawyer. That same year, her Vanity Fair cover headlined, "Call Me Caitlyn" drew over 10 million online views within 24 hours, turning her announcement into one of the most watched cultural moments in modern history. This revelation marked not just the beginning of her new chapter, but also a major shift in how the world understood gender and authenticity. Following her transition, Caitlyn launched the reality series I Am Kate on E!, documenting her new life challenges and advocacy for the transgender community. The show reached millions of viewers and became a platform for real conversations about gender identity. Her memoir, The Secrets of My Life, released in 2017, became a New York Times bestseller, giving readers a rare window into her decades-long battle for self-acceptance. Through public speaking, interviews, and appearances, she encouraged understanding and compassion even when faced with criticism from both the LGBTQ+ community and her conservative background. Despite controversy surrounding her political affiliations and outspoken views, Caitlyn continued to use her platform for social impact. She founded the Caitlyn Jenner Foundation, which provides grants and scholarships to support trans youth and promote equality. In 2021, she made headlines again by announcing her candidacy for governor of California, a bold move that reminded the world that her story was about resilience, not retreat. Whether admired or debated, Caitlyn has remained steadfast in living her truth without apology. Today, at age 75, Caitlyn Jenner stands as a cultural icon whose journey bridges sports media and identity politics. Her transformation from Olympic champion to advocate reshaped global conversations about gender diversity and human authenticity. She continues to appear in documentaries, public events, and interviews, emphasizing that her mission is to ensure no one feels ashamed for being themselves. Caitlyn's story is not just about fame, it's about freedom. From a gold medal on the track to the courage to face the mirror, her life proves that victory comes in many forms. Her evolution challenges society to look beyond labels and see the human soul beneath the spotlight. The question now remains, in a world still divided by judgment, will we finally learn to celebrate every version of truth? Laverne Cox. Long before she became an icon of visibility, Laverne Cox was a young girl growing up in Mobile, Alabama, who dreamed of being seen for who she truly was. Born in 1972, she endured relentless bullying and misunderstanding from both peers and teachers. Yet her creativity became her survival. Theater offered her a refuge, a place where she could embody truth through art. That passion eventually led her to New York City, where she studied at Marymount Manhattan College and began crafting the fearless identity that would one day reshape modern entertainment. Laverne's rise to stardom began with her unforgettable portrayal of Sophia Bursay in Netflix's Orange is the New Black. When the series premiered in 2013, it introduced millions of viewers to a multidimensional transgender character portrayed with empathy and grace. Her performance earned her an Emmy nomination, making her the first openly transgender person in history to be recognized in a primetime acting category. That recognition marked a defining moment for Hollywood, proof that transgender talent belonged not on the margins, but at the center of storytelling. Beyond acting, Laverne emerged as a global advocate for social justice and equality. She used her platform to highlight the discrimination and violence faced by transgender women of color, whose stories were too often silenced. Her Time magazine cover in 2014, headlined "The Transgender Tipping Point," became a cultural landmark. Millions saw her face strong, elegant, and unapologetic, symbolizing a new era of representation. Laverne's presence wasn't just about fame, it was about shifting global consciousness toward empathy and inclusion. Her influence expanded through her documentary work and activism. She produced The T Word, which won a Daytime Emmy for its powerful depiction of young transgender lives in America. Collaborating with GLAAD and the ACLU, she pushed for legislative reform, fair healthcare access, and media accountability. Laverne's eloquence, intelligence, and humanity made her both a performer and a teacher, bridging the gap between entertainment and enlightenment. Her openness about mental health relationships and navigating fame as a Black transgender woman deepened her connection with audiences. In 2023, she launched the Laverne Cox Show podcast, inviting artists and thinkers to explore identity, creativity, and resilience. Every episode reflected her signature warmth and intellect, proving that influence begins with honesty. At 53, Laverne Cox remains one of the most respected and transformative figures in pop culture. Her story redefined what representation means, not as tokenism, but as truth in motion. She has shown that courage can be both quiet and revolutionary, that authenticity can rebuild industries. The question that lingers is simple yet powerful. Will the world continue to honor voices like hers, or only remember them when history demands it? Andrea Pejic. Before the world knew her as Andrea Pejic, she was a shy child born in 1991 in Tuzla, Bosnia, and Herzegovina at the height of war. Her family fled to a refugee camp before settling in Melbourne, Australia, where her journey towards self-discovery quietly began. By her late teens, Andrea was scouted by a modeling agency and quickly became one of fashion's most talked-about sensations, not because she fit in, but because she didn't. With her delicate features and striking androgyny, she walked both men's and women's runways for designers like Jean-Paul Gaultier and Marc Jacobs, redefining beauty standards that had stood untouched for decades. For years, Andrea's androgynous look fascinated the industry, but hid a deeper truth. She later revealed that behind the fame was an intense personal battle, living in a body that didn't reflect her identity. In 2014, at age 22, Andrea publicly came out as transgender after undergoing gender-affirming surgery, telling Vogue that she finally felt complete. That same year, she became the first openly transgender model profiled by Vogue, and later the first trans woman to front a major cosmetics campaign with Makeup Forever. Those milestones made her not just a model, but a symbol of courage and authenticity in an industry obsessed with perfection. Her transition marked a major cultural shift within fashion. For decades, runways excluded anyone who didn't conform to narrow ideals of gender and body image. Andrea's success challenged that system head-on. Her presence in campaigns and editorials inspired casting directors and designers to rethink representation, paving the way for younger trans talents such as Valentina Sampaio and Hunter Schafer. The fashion world, long criticized for its rigidity, could no longer ignore the power of inclusion. Off the runway, Andrea used her voice to speak about identity, mental health, and belonging. She has appeared at global conferences advocating for LGBTQ+ visibility and the protection of refugee communities, reminding audiences that her story is one of both displacement and rebirth. She has spoken openly about the psychological toll of hiding one's truth and the importance of media showing trans people as multidimensional, not defined solely by transition, but by creativity and resilience. In recent years, Andrea expanded her influence beyond modeling, taking roles in film and television that highlight her versatility as an artist. She continues to use her social media platforms to promote body positivity and acceptance, urging fans to be your own kind of beautiful. Her journey from a war-torn childhood to international stardom represents far more than glamour. It embodies survival, grace, and evolution. Now in her early 30s, Andrea Pejich stands as one of the most influential transgender figures in fashion history. Her transformation didn't just change her life, it changed the way the world defines beauty. She proved that identity is not a limitation, but a masterpiece in progress. The question she leaves us with is timeless. In a world that still profits from conformity, will authenticity ever stop being radical? Janet Mock. Born in Honolulu, Hawaii in 1983, Janet Mock grew up with a voice that would one day rewrite television history. Raised by a single mother, she faced the challenges of poverty, identity, and societal misunderstanding. Yet even as a teenager, she knew her truth that she was destined to live authentically as a woman. After transitioning during high school and earning degrees in journalism from the University of Hawaii and New York University, Janet turned her pain into power, using storytelling as her weapon against invisibility. Her early years prepared her for a life dedicated to reshaping how the world perceives transgender women, particularly women of color. Her breakthrough came in 2014 with her memoir, Redefining Realness, which became a New York Times bestseller and one of the first books written by a transgender woman of color about her life journey. It wasn't just a personal account. It was a manifesto for truth and visibility. Through her elegant prose, Janet invited readers to understand the intersection of race, gender, and class, challenging stereotypes that had long defined transgender narratives. Her story resonated globally, turning her into a leading cultural voice and advocate for self-acceptance. Hollywood soon recognized her unique perspective. In 2018, Janet joined the production team of FX's groundbreaking series Pose, a show that celebrated New York's 1980s ballroom scene, a vibrant culture built by queer and trans people of color. She made history as the first Black transgender woman to write and direct for network television. Her work on Pose wasn't just art, it was activism wrapped in emotion and authenticity. Through her episodes, she gave life to characters whose experiences mirrored the struggles and triumphs of real people long erased from mainstream storytelling. Janet's influence extended far beyond the screen. She became an executive producer, writer, and director, advocating for equality both behind and in front of the camera. She used her visibility to demand that transgender people be included not as tokens, but as creators, decision-makers, and leaders. Her TED Talks, keynote speeches, and magazine features spread a message that transcended Hollywood, a call to honor humanity in all its forms. Her words: "I believe that telling our stories first to ourselves and then to one another and the world is a revolutionary act, continue to inspire activists and dreamers alike." In 2021, Janet signed a multi-year deal with Netflix to develop original content centering on marginalized voices, solidifying her position as one of the most powerful trans creators in entertainment. She remains unapologetically outspoken, using her influence to uplift others while pushing back against systemic inequality. Her advocacy is rooted not in anger, but in love, a deep belief that storytelling can heal, educate, and liberate. At 42, Janet Mock stands as a cultural architect, a writer, director, and visionary whose art changed both television and social consciousness. Her journey from a young girl in Honolulu to one of Hollywood's most respected creative forces embodies the power of truth. She showed that being seen is the first step toward being free. The real question left for us is, will the industry keep its promise of diversity, or will Janet's revolution remain unfinished? MJ Rodriguez. Born Michaela Antonia J. Rodriguez in Newark, New Jersey in 1991. MJ Rodriguez grew up surrounded by gospel theater and dreams that stretched far beyond her neighborhood. From a young age, she found comfort in music and storytelling, performing in school plays and local productions. But her journey was never simple. Behind her radiant smile was the struggle of living in a world that didn't yet have room for her truth. After attending the Berklee College of Music, MJ began performing under her chosen name, a reflection of her courage to live authentically, and slowly carved a path that would make her one of the most beloved transgender performers in modern television. Her defining breakthrough came with the role of Blanca Evangelista in FX's Pose 2018 to 2021, a groundbreaking series centered on New York City's ballroom culture of the late 1980s and early 1990s. MJ's portrayal of Blanca, a mother figure leading her chosen family through love, poverty, and discrimination, captured hearts around the world. Critics hailed her performance as both powerful and tender, a rare blend of strength and vulnerability that elevated representation to a new level. Through Blanca, MJ didn't just act, she embodied compassion, showing millions that womanhood is defined not by appearance, but by heart. In 2021, MJ Rodriguez made history by becoming the first transgender woman ever nominated for an Emmy in a leading acting category, and soon after the first to win a Golden Globe for Best Actress in a drama series. Her victory wasn't just personal, it was monumental. For decades, transgender artists had been invisible or misrepresented in Hollywood. Her success sent a clear message: authenticity is not a limitation, it's a gift. That night, she dedicated her award to the LGBTQ+ community, saying, "This is for the little kids out there. You're beautiful, you're valued, and you're loved." Beyond her achievements on screen, MJ is also an accomplished singer and humanitarian. She released singles like Something to Say and Love, You Like I Should, using her music to express empowerment and joy. She continues to perform live, blending soulful R&B with the emotional storytelling that has become her signature. Offstage, she advocates for transgender rights, fair media representation, and mental health awareness. Her speeches often focus on unity, not just within the LGBTQ+ community, but across humanity as a whole. Her journey has also inspired a new generation of artists to embrace vulnerability as power. MJ often reminds her fans that self-acceptance is not an endpoint, but an evolution. Through interviews, she shares how faith, family, and resilience shaped her path. Her story is proof that greatness does not require perfection, only authenticity. She has become a living reminder that representation is not a trend, but a necessity for a more compassionate world. At 34, MJ Rodriguez stands as a pioneer who turned barriers into bridges. From community theaters to global award stages, her light has redefined what it means to be seen. Her presence challenges Hollywood to move beyond tolerance toward true celebration. The world watched her rise from silence to spotlight, but the real question now is, will the industry continue to amplify voices like hers, or let history repeat its quiet erasure? Gigi Gorgeous. Born Giselle Lauren Lazzarato in Montreal, Canada in 1992, Gigi Gorgeous first gained attention as a charismatic teen beauty vlogger on YouTube in the late 2000s. What began as a lighthearted channel filled with makeup tutorials and fashion hauls soon evolved into something much deeper. A window into the soul of a young person searching for identity and self-acceptance. By 2013, Gigi came out publicly as a transgender woman, courageously sharing every step of her journey online. Her transformation wasn't just physical, it was emotional, spiritual, and profoundly human. With over 2.8 million subscribers, her story reached millions of people who had never seen a trans woman live her truth so openly. Her videos documented both joy and hardship, the surgeries, the recovery, the first time she looked in the mirror and recognized herself. Through vulnerability and humor, Gigi helped destigmatize transition and made conversations about gender identity accessible to young audiences. In 2017, her story reached even broader audiences with the documentary This Is Everything, Gigi Gorgeous, directed by Barbara Koppel. The film premiered at the Sundance Film Festival and later streamed on YouTube, Red, earning praise for its honesty and emotional depth. Critics called it a milestone for digital storytelling, blending celebrity culture with raw authenticity. Gigi's influence extended beyond YouTube. She became a sought-after figure in fashion and entertainment, collaborating with major brands like Revlon, Too Faced, and Pantene, and appearing at events such as the Glade Media Awards and the MTV VMAs. Her unapologetic confidence challenged traditional standards of beauty, showing the world that femininity and self-expression come in many forms. Her marriage in 2019 to Nats Getty artist and LGBTQ+ activist further cemented her image as a global symbol of love without boundaries. Yet behind the glamour, Gigi has always remained grounded in advocacy. She's spoken out about trans healthcare, body positivity, and the importance of family acceptance. After losing her mother to cancer in 2012, Gigi often credits her mom's love as the emotional foundation that gave her strength to transition. She frequently tells fans that the truest beauty is being able to live without fear. Her openness about grief, identity, and faith has made her one of the most relatable voices of her generation. Her platform continues to evolve, combining activism with artistry. From speaking at WE Day events to featuring in LGBTQ+ campaigns worldwide, Gigi has used her fame to push for global inclusion. She remains a bridge between mainstream entertainment and queer visibility, transforming social media into a space of empowerment rather than judgment. Now in her early 30s, Gigi Gorgeous stands not only as a YouTube pioneer, but as a cultural force who changed how the world views transition. Her journey from beauty vlogger to activist proves that vulnerability can be revolutionary. She reminds us that the internet can heal, inspire, and unite if used with truth and compassion. The real question is, will society continue to celebrate honesty or retreat behind filters again? Isis King. Born in Annapolis, Maryland in 1985, Isis King grew up with a quiet strength that would one day help her break boundaries on national television. From an early age, she had a passion for creativity, design, and self-expression. After studying at the Art Institute of Philadelphia, she began exploring modeling and fashion design, two worlds that rarely welcomed people like her. For years, she battled rejection and misunderstanding while working to find her place in an industry built on rigid ideals of beauty. Yet her determination would soon make her a pioneer for transgender visibility in mainstream entertainment. Her moment came in 2008 when she became the first openly transgender contestant on America's Next Top Model, appearing in the show's 11th and 17th cycles. Her debut marked a historic milestone. It was the first time millions of viewers saw a trans woman competing on a global stage for her talent, not her identity. Despite criticism and scrutiny from some audiences, Isis remained poised, confident, and unapologetic. Her participation opened doors for future trans models and actors, challenging the idea that femininity had to fit one narrow mold. After the show, Isis used her newfound platform to speak about authenticity and acceptance. She appeared in national campaigns, walked in New York Fashion Week, and became a spokesperson for Glade and other LGBTQ+ advocacy organizations. Her story resonated with young viewers who had never seen someone like themselves represented on television. What set her apart wasn't just her beauty, but her honesty. She spoke openly about gender dysphoria, mental health, and the importance of visibility. For many, she became proof that success and self-love could coexist. Her acting career soon took flight with acclaimed roles in Netflix's When They See Us and Amazon's romantic series With Love, where she portrayed characters written with compassion and depth. Critics praised her for breaking stereotypes, giving humanity to trans stories that Hollywood had long treated as secondary. Each performance revealed her ability to move audiences beyond sympathy toward understanding, a shift she had been fighting for since her reality TV debut. Off-screen, Isis continues to champion transgender equality, body positivity, and self-acceptance. She frequently speaks at universities and conferences, emphasizing that visibility can save lives. Through her artistry and activism, she has become both a role model and a voice for change, advocating for fair treatment in healthcare, employment, and media representation. Her message remains simple, yet powerful: everyone deserves the right to exist without apology. At 40, Isis King stands as a trailblazer whose courage transformed pop culture. From a fashion hopeful to a respected actress and advocate, she redefined beauty and resilience for a new generation. Her journey proves that authenticity isn't about fitting in, it's about standing tall even when the world isn't ready. The question she leaves us with is timeless: how many more hearts could open if more stories like hers were given the light they deserve? Dominique Jackson. Born in Scarborough, Tobago in 1975, Dominique Jackson's story is one of survival strength and triumph over adversity. As a child, she faced rejection from her family and community for expressing her identity. She endured homelessness, poverty, and violence, yet refused to let the world define her worth. In her early 20s, she immigrated to the United States, seeking not fame, but freedom. What she found instead was a community, the New York ballroom scene, where she was embraced by the legendary House of Sinclair and later House of Abundance. It was there that Dominique discovered her power storytelling through movement, elegance, and resilience. Her journey from the ballroom floor to television screens was far from easy. Before fame, Dominique modeled for small fashion houses and volunteered for LGBTQ+ organizations, often balancing multiple jobs to survive. Her breakthrough came in 2018 with the FX series Pose, where she portrayed the fierce and unforgettable Electra Abundance. The show, created by Ryan Murphy, Janet Mock, and Stephen Canals, celebrated the beauty, pain, and power of queer and trans communities during the AIDS crisis. Dominique's performance, commanding vulnerable and unapologetic, earned global acclaim. She brought Electra to life not as a caricature, but as a fully realized woman who fought the world with style and grace. Pose became more than a television series. It became a cultural revolution. Dominique and her castmates, including MJ Rodriguez and India Moore, represented the largest ensemble of transgender actors ever on screen. Through her role, Dominique gave voice to generations of trans women who had been erased from history. Critics described her portrayal as regal and raw, and audiences found in Electra a symbol of self-preservation and dignity. For many viewers, it was the first time they saw a black trans woman presented as powerful, not pitiful. Off-screen, Dominique has remained an outspoken advocate for equality and safety for trans individuals. She has worked with organizations such as Destination Tomorrow, GLAAD, and the Caribbean Equality Project, using her influence to raise awareness about homelessness, healthcare, and violence against transgender people. In 2021, she addressed the United Nations about global LGBTQ+ rights, emphasizing that trans lives are not political debates. They are human lives. Her words echoed far beyond the podium, reminding the world that representation means nothing without justice. Her memoir, The Transsexual from Tobago, published before Pose, recounts her journey from trauma to transformation. She wrote it not for sympathy, but for empowerment, offering hope to those who feel unseen. Dominique has since continued to model Walk international runways and deliver keynote speeches around the world. Each appearance reflects her signature presence, bold, radiant, and unshaken by society's expectations. Now in her late 40s, Dominique Jackson stands as a beacon of authenticity and strength. Her rise from the margins to the mainstream proves that visibility can save lives. She once said, "My existence is activism," and indeed it is. Through her art, her advocacy, and her unwavering pride, Dominique has shown that living one's truth is the ultimate act of revolution. The question that remains, will the world ever catch up to the power she embodies? Angelica Ross. Born in Kenosha, Wisconsin in 1980, Angelica Ross grew up with a vivid imagination and a deep desire to make a difference in the world. From a young age, she displayed an early love for music, technology, and storytelling. But behind her talent was a constant battle for acceptance both within her family and society. After coming out as transgender in her late teens, Angelica faced rejection that left her homeless and struggling to survive. Yet rather than surrender, she used those painful years to build resilience. She later joined the U.S. Navy, becoming one of the few openly transgender women to serve, though her time there was marked by discrimination and fear of exposure. Her courage to live authentically would soon redefine what it means to lead with both heart and intellect. When Angelica began her acting career, Hollywood wasn't ready for someone like her, but she refused to wait for permission. Her persistence paid off when she earned a breakout role as Candy Ferocity in FX's Pose 2018-2021. Candy, fierce and unapologetic, embodied both the pain and pride of black trans women fighting to be seen in 1980s New York's ballroom scene. Her tragic yet powerful storyline left audiences weeping and sparked national conversations about the safety and dignity of trans women of color. Critics hailed Angelica's performance as a raw and unforgettable portrayal of truth, giving humanity to a group long pushed to the margins. Her success in Pose led to another milestone being cast in Ryan Murphy's American Horror Story 1984, making her one of the first trans actresses to play major roles across two acclaimed television franchises. This crossover solidified her as a trailblazer in Hollywood, proving that talent knows no gender boundaries. Beyond her screen presence, Angelica used her fame to push for equality, becoming one of the most vocal advocates for inclusion, fair pay, and racial justice within the entertainment industry. What truly sets Angelica apart, however, is her work outside of Hollywood. In 2014, she founded TransTech Social Enterprises, a nonprofit that helps transgender people gain employment and skills in technology. Through this organization, she has trained and empowered thousands of individuals, giving them tools to achieve financial independence and self-worth. Her vision blends activism with innovation, showing that progress begins not with charity, but with opportunity. Her speeches at the White House, GLAAD Media Awards, and TEDx events have inspired countless audiences around the globe. Angelica speaks not only as an actress, but as a leader, one who understands that visibility means little without systemic change. She continues to champion trans rights, economic empowerment, and digital equity, reminding people that the fight for inclusion extends beyond screens and headlines. Now, in her mid-40s, Angelica Ross stands as a rare blend of artist, activist, and entrepreneur, a woman who turned pain into purpose, and purpose into progress. Her journey proves that success isn't about fitting in, but about standing tall in one's truth. From Pose to politics, she has become a symbol of transformation, not just of self, but of the systems that once tried to erase her. The lingering question is clear: how many more Angelicas must rise before equality stops being revolutionary? Sasha Colby. Born in Honolulu, Hawaii in 1985, Sasha Colby grew up surrounded by the warmth of island culture and the rhythm of Polynesian performance. From a young age, she understood the power of expression, how movement music and self-confidence could heal wounds the world could not see. Yet behind her grace was a battle for acceptance. Growing up as a trans woman in a conservative environment meant enduring misunderstanding and isolation. But rather than allowing rejection to silence her, Sasha turned it into motivation. Her journey would soon take her from the beaches of Hawaii to the world's biggest stages, where she would become one of the most celebrated transgender performers of her generation. Sasha's rise began in the world of pageantry, where she became a powerhouse performer known for her elegance, precision, and authenticity. In 2012, she won the coveted title of Miss Continental, one of the most prestigious crowns in the LGBTQ+ pageant circuit. That victory was not just personal, it marked a turning point for transgender representation in drag and performance culture. Sasha's win shattered stereotypes, proving that trans women were not only part of the art form, but among its most talented and visionary artists. Her poise, compassion, and confidence made her a mentor figure to countless younger queens and trans performers across America. Her defining moment came over a decade later, when she entered RuPaul's Drag Race Season 15 in 2023. Competing as an already established legend, Sasha's presence brought wisdom and grace to a new generation of viewers. Week after week, she mesmerized audiences with her blend of power and vulnerability, from high-fashion runway looks to deeply emotional performances that reflected her life's struggles and triumphs. When she was crowned America's Next Drag Superstar, she became the first Hawaiian and one of the first openly transgender women to win the main series. Her victory symbolized both progress and visibility for the trans community at a time when representation mattered more than ever. Beyond competition, Sasha has become a teacher and advocate for self-love and trans empowerment. She uses her platform to speak against discrimination and harmful legislation targeting LGBTQ+ rights in the United States. Through interviews, public speeches, and live performances, she emphasizes that drag and gender identity are not opposites. They are intertwined expressions of human creativity. "Trans is beautiful," she once said, "and so is being exactly who you are meant to be." Her message, delivered with calm confidence, continues to resonate with fans worldwide. Sasha also mentors younger artists through workshops and creative collaborations, blending spirituality with activism. Her performances often carry themes of healing, rebirth, and pride, drawing from her Hawaiian heritage and personal faith. She reminds audiences that transformation is not about becoming someone new. It's about revealing the person you were always meant to be. At 40, Sasha Colby stands as more than a drag performer or television winner. She is a cultural icon whose life embodies resilience, artistry, and freedom. Her success on global stages has given hope to countless trans and queer individuals who long to see themselves represented with dignity and joy. From Honolulu to Hollywood, she has shown that authenticity is not a risk, it's a revolution. The question that remains is whether the world will keep celebrating trans excellence as art, or once again relegate it to novelty. Sasha Colby's victory wasn't just a personal triumph, it was a declaration that truth can outshine tradition. Her journey from Honolulu's stages to global fame represents the resilience of a woman who turned pain into power and art into activism. But as her crown gleams, a deeper question emerges: will society truly embrace transgender excellence beyond entertainment, or continue to celebrate it only when convenient? Her story challenges us to confront our own biases and redefine beauty, freedom, and equality. What does it really mean to honor authenticity?